Welcome to our channel Info World. Before we proceed further, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Please watch video till end to improve your knowledge and motivation.
Welcome to our channel. Please subscribe to our channel. Watch video till end to know facts about Pakistan. Pakistan, officially known as the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, is a South Asian country with a rich history, vibrant culture, and diverse geography. It shares borders with India, Afghanistan, Iran, and China, while its southern coastline meets the Arabian Sea. With a population of over 240 million people, it is the fifth most populous country in the world. The capital city is Islamabad, and the largest city is Karachi, a bustling metropolis and economic hub. Historically, Pakistan emerged as an independent nation in 1947, following the partition of British India. It was founded on the principles of providing a homeland for Muslims in the Indian subcontinent. Pakistan is renowned for its strategic importance, rich traditions, and the warmth of its people. Pakistan boasts some of the most stunning mountain ranges in the world, including the Karakoram and Himalayan ranges. These ranges are home to peaks that attract mountaineers, trekkers, and adventure enthusiasts from across the globe. Standing tall at 8,611 meters, K2, also known as Mount Godwinausten, is the crown jewel of Pakistan's mountains. It is considered one of the most challenging peaks to climb and symbolizes the resilience and determination of those who attempt it. The Indus River is the lifeline of Pakistan, stretching over 3,000 kilometers. It has nourished civilizations for thousands of years and continues to play a crucial role in agriculture and culture. Pakistan's geography offers a wide range of climates, from the arid deserts of Sindh and Balochistan to the lush green valleys of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the snowy peaks of Gilgit-Baltistan. The diversity is unparalleled. Nestled in the shadows of Nanga Parbat, the Fairy Meadows are a lush green plateau offering breathtaking views of the mountains. It is a haven for nature lovers and a perfect spot for camping under starry skies. Known for its serene beauty, Hunza Valley is often called heaven on earth. Its terraced fields, ancient forts, and friendly locals make it a top tourist destination. One of the largest deserts in the world, the Thar Desert spans across Sindh and parts of Rajasthan, India. It is a land of golden sands, camel caravans, and traditional festivals. Located near Lahore, Chongamanga is one of the largest man-made forests in the world. It is a sanctuary for wildlife and a popular spot for ecotourism. This glacial lake, situated near the town of Naran, is surrounded by snow-capped peaks and is steeped in local folklore. It's a magical spot that attracts thousands of visitors annually. Pakistan's coastline along the Arabian Sea stretches for about 1,046 kilometers. The beaches of Karachi, Gwadar, and Ormara are serene and picturesque, offering opportunities for relaxation and adventure. Proactive interference occurs when old information interferes with the ability to learn or recall new information, while retroactive interference involves new information disrupting the recall of older memories. Memory consolidation is the process through which newly acquired information is stabilized and stored in long-term memory, often occurring during sleep. The misinformation effect occurs when individuals' memories are distorted by incorrect or misleading information presented after an event. Amnesia refers to the loss of memory, which can be caused by injury, trauma, or certain medical conditions. There are two main types: retrograde amnesia, loss of past memories, and anterograde amnesia, inability to form new memories. Context-dependent memory is the phenomenon where people are more likely to recall information when they are in the same environment or context in which they learned it. State-dependent memory is the tendency to recall information more effectively when in the same mental or emotional state as when the information was encoded. False memory is the phenomenon where individuals recall events or details that did not actually occur, often due to the influence of external factors or suggestive information. Mnemonic devices are memory aids or strategies that help individuals encode, store, and retrieve information more effectively such as acronyms, rhymes, or visual imagery. The method of loci is a mnemonic technique that involves visualizing information along a familiar route or location, helping to improve recall. Psychology of emotions and emotional intelligence. Emotion is a complex psychological state that involves a physiological response, a subjective experience, and a behavioral expression, often triggered by external stimuli. The James Lange theory of emotion suggests that emotions result from the body's physiological responses to stimuli. For example, we feel fear because we tremble. The Cannon-Bard theory of emotion proposes that emotions and physiological responses occur simultaneously and independently, rather than sequentially. The Schachter-Singer-to-factor theory of emotion asserts that emotions arise from a combination of physiological arousal and cognitive interpretation of that arousal. The Lazarus cognitive mediational theory of emotion suggests that emotions are influenced by how an individual appraises or interprets a situation, which then determines the emotional response. The facial feedback hypothesis suggests that facial expressions can influence emotional experiences, meaning that smiling can make people feel happier. Psychology of emotions and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence (EQ), the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and regulate emotions in oneself and others, and is critical for effective interpersonal interactions and well-being. The 4 branches of emotional intelligence include perceiving emotions, facilitating thought, understanding emotions, and managing emotions. Self-awareness, the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotions and how they affect thoughts and behaviors. Self-regulation involves managing one's emotions in healthy ways, such as controlling impulses and adapting to changing circumstances. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, and is a key component of emotional intelligence and positive relationships. Social skills involve the ability to navigate social situations, communicate effectively, and build strong relationships. Motivation, within the context of emotional intelligence, refers to the ability to harness emotions to achieve goals, maintain a positive attitude, and persist in the face of obstacles. The emotional contagion theory suggests that emotions can be transferred from one person to another, and individuals may unconsciously mimic and adopt others' emotional states. Positive psychology focuses on the study and cultivation of positive emotions, strengths, and well-being, emphasizing growth, happiness, and fulfillment. Happiness is generally associated with positive emotions, life satisfaction, and the sense of living a meaningful and fulfilling life. Gratitude is a positive emotion that involves recognizing and appreciating the good things in one's life, and is linked to improved mental health and well-being. Laughter is a natural emotional response that typically involves a release of tension and is associated with joy, humor, and social bonding. Fear is an emotional response to a perceived threat or danger, and it is vital for survival as it triggers the fight-or-flight response. Sadness is an emotional response to loss, disappointment, or helplessness, and it often leads to introspection, emotional processing, and seeking social support. Anger is a strong emotional response to perceived injustice, frustration, or threat, and it can motivate action, but can also lead to negative outcomes if not managed properly. Disgust is an emotion that arises in response to something offensive, unclean, or morally repugnant, and it plays a role in protecting individuals from harmful substances or behaviors. Surprise is an emotional reaction to unexpected events, and it can be positive or negative depending on the context of the surprise. Psychology of social behavior and interactions. Social psychology is the study of how individuals' thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by the actual or imagined presence of others. Conformity refers to the tendency to align one's behaviors, beliefs, or attitudes with those of a group, often due to social pressure. Normative social influence occurs when individuals conform to a group's expectations to be accepted or liked by others. Informational social influence happens when individuals conform because they believe the group's behavior is correct or provides valuable information. Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon where the desire for group harmony or conformity results in irrational or dysfunctional decision-making. The bystander effect suggests that individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when others are present, due to a diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility occurs when individuals feel less personal responsibility to act in an emergency when others are present, leading to a decreased likelihood of intervention. Social loafing is the tendency for people to exert less effort in a group task than when working individually, particularly when individual contributions are easily identifiable. Obedience refers to the act of following orders or instructions from an authority figure, even when those instructions conflict with personal beliefs or ethical standards. The Milgram experiment demonstrated the power of authority figures, showing that people were willing to administer potentially lethal shocks to others when instructed by an authority figure. The Stanford Prison Experiment by Philip Zimbardo showed how social roles and situational factors can lead to dehumanizing behavior, as participants adopted roles of guards and prisoners. Social identity theory suggests that people define themselves based on their group membership, c.g., nationality, religion, or sports teams, which can influence intergroup behavior and attitudes. In-group bias is the tendency to favor members of one's own group over those in other groups, often leading to prejudice and discrimination. Out-group homogeneity effect is the tendency to view members of other groups as more similar to each other than they actually are, while seeing greater diversity within one's own group. Stereotypes are generalized beliefs or assumptions about members of a particular group, which may or may not be accurate but influence behavior toward group members. Prejudice refers to preconceived negative judgments or attitudes toward individuals based on their group membership, for example, race, gender, or ethnicity. Discrimination is the unfair treatment or behavior directed at individuals based on their group membership, often resulting from prejudice. The contact hypothesis suggests that intergroup contact, particularly when the groups have equal status and common goals, can reduce prejudice and improve intergroup relations. Altruism is the selfless concern for the well-being of others, often manifesting in helping behavior without expecting any personal gain. Empathy-altruism hypothesis proposes that people help others because they feel empathy toward them and desire to alleviate their suffering. The foot-in-the-door technique involves making a small request to which people are likely to agree, followed by a larger request. The door-in-the-face technique involves making a large, unreasonable request that is likely to be refused, followed by a smaller, more reasonable request. Reciprocity refers to the tendency for individuals to return favors or kindness, often creating a cycle of cooperation and mutual support. The principle of scarcity suggests that people tend to value things more when they are perceived to be scarce or in limited supply, often leading to increased demand or desire. Social facilitation refers to the phenomenon where the presence of others enhances an individual's performance on simple or well-learned tasks, but can impair performance on more complex tasks. Social inhibition occurs when the presence of others inhibits performance on tasks that are difficult or unfamiliar, due to increased anxiety or pressure. The halo effect is the tendency to make generalizations about an individual based on one positive trait or behavior, leading to an overall favorable impression. The horn effect is the opposite of the halo effect, where a negative impression based on a single undesirable trait influences the overall perception of an individual. Attribution theory is the study of how individuals explain the causes of behavior, either attributing actions to internal factors, dispositions, or external factors, situations. Fundamental attribution error is the tendency to attribute others' behavior to their internal characteristics, while underestimating the influence of external factors. Self-serving bias is the tendency to attribute positive outcomes to one's own abilities or efforts, while blaming external factors for negative outcomes. The just world hypothesis suggests that people have a tendency to believe that the world is inherently fair, and that people get what they deserve, i.e., good things happen to good people, and bad things happen to bad people. The false consensus effect occurs when people overestimate the extent to which others share their beliefs, opinions, or behaviors. Cognitive dissonance theory, proposed by Leon Festinger, suggests that people experience discomfort when their beliefs or actions are inconsistent, leading them to seek ways to reduce the inconsistency, often by changing their beliefs or behaviors. Psychology of health and well-being. Health psychology is the study of how biological, social, and psychological factors influence health and illness, and how individuals can improve their health behaviors. The biopsychosocial model of health emphasizes the interplay between biological, psychological, and social factors in understanding health outcomes and treatment. Stress-related disorders include conditions like anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD), which can result from prolonged exposure to stress or traumatic events. Chronic illnesses, such as heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, can have both physical and psychological impacts on individuals, affecting mood, coping abilities, and quality of life. Health behaviors are the actions individuals take to maintain or improve their health, including exercise, nutrition, sleep, and avoiding harmful behaviors such as smoking or excessive alcohol consumption. The health belief model, a psychological framework that explains how individuals' perceptions of health risks, benefits of action, and barriers to change influence health-related behaviors. Social support is an important determinant of health, as having a network of supportive relationships has been linked to better physical and mental health outcomes. The placebo effect occurs when individuals experience a real improvement in health after receiving a treatment that has no therapeutic value, due to their belief in the treatment's effectiveness. Mind-body connection refers to the influence of mental states, emotions, and psychological factors on physical health and vice versa. Psychoneuroimmunology is the study of how the mind and emotions influence the immune system, highlighting the connection between psychological stress and physical health. Self-care refers to the practices individuals engage in to maintain their physical and mental health, such as relaxation techniques, healthy eating, and regular physical activity. Resilience in the context of health refers to an individual's ability to cope with illness, recover from setbacks, and maintain positive well-being despite challenges. Mindfulness is a mental practice that involves focusing on the present moment with acceptance and non-judgment, and is often used to reduce stress and improve well-being. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is a widely used therapeutic approach that helps individuals identify and change negative thought patterns and behaviors, improving mental health and coping abilities. Positive psychology focuses on cultivating positive emotions, strengths, and personal growth to enhance overall well-being and life satisfaction. Exercise has numerous psychological and physical benefits, including the release of endorphins, natural mood boosters, and improvements in cognitive function, stress reduction, and emotional regulation. Sleep is essential for both physical and psychological health, as it is linked to improved memory, mood, and immune function, while sleep deprivation can lead to cognitive impairments and emotional instability. Intrinsic motivation occurs when individuals engage in an activity because they find it inherently enjoyable or fulfilling, such as pursuing a hobby. Extrinsic motivation involves performing an activity to achieve an external reward or avoid a punishment, such as working for a paycheck or studying for a grade. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory that proposes humans have a series of needs, starting with physiological needs: food, water, and progressing to safety, love and belonging, esteem, and finally self-actualization, personal growth, and fulfillment. Goal-setting theory, proposed by Edwin Locke, suggests that specific and challenging goals, when accepted by an individual, lead to higher performance compared to easy or vague goals. SMART goals are a framework for effective goal setting, where goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The GRIT theory, proposed by Angela Duckworth, emphasizes the importance of perseverance and passion for long-term goals as a predictor of success. Self-efficacy is the belief in one's ability to succeed in specific situations or accomplish tasks, and it plays a crucial role in motivation and achievement. The theory of planned behavior suggests that intentions, shaped by attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control, influence the likelihood of engaging in a behavior. Operant conditioning, as mentioned earlier, plays a role in motivation by using reinforcement or punishment to shape behavior, increasing the likelihood of a desired action. The overjustification effect occurs when external rewards for an activity reduce intrinsic motivation, as individuals may begin to view the activity as a means to an end rather than as enjoyable in itself. Intrinsic motivation is most effective for creative and problem-solving tasks, whereas extrinsic motivation is better suited for routine or repetitive tasks. Cognitive evaluation theory suggests that extrinsic rewards can undermine intrinsic motivation when they are perceived as controlling, rather than supportive. Motivational interviewing is a therapeutic approach that uses a collaborative conversation to help individuals resolve ambivalence about change and enhance their motivation for behavior change. Vicarious learning observational learning can increase motivation, as individuals learn from others' successes or mistakes. The ladder of aspiration suggests that individuals set higher goals as they achieve lower ones, gradually increasing their expectations and motivating them to strive for greater success. Psychology of personality and identity. Personality refers to the unique set of characteristics, traits, and behaviors that define an individual's consistent patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting. The Big Five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism are a widely accepted framework for understanding personality differences. Openness refers to the extent to which a person is imaginative, curious, and open to new experiences. Conscientiousness involves the degree of organization, responsibility, and reliability a person exhibits in their life and tasks. Extroversion is characterized by sociability, assertiveness, and the tendency to seek stimulation in the company of others. Agreeableness refers to the degree of kindness, empathy, and cooperation a person shows toward others. Neuroticism is associated with emotional instability, anxiety, and a tendency to experience negative emotions. Carl Jung proposed that personality is influenced by both conscious and unconscious factors, and he introduced concepts like introversion versus extroversion and the theory of archetypes. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator (MBTI) and a personality assessment tool that categorizes individuals into 16 different types based on preferences for perception and judgment. For example, introversion versus extroversion, thinking versus feeling. Self-concept is the cognitive and emotional understanding that individuals have of themselves, which is influenced by personal experiences, social interactions, and societal expectations. Self-esteem is the overall evaluation a person makes about their worth and value, and it can impact mental health, motivation, and interpersonal relationships. Self-compassion involves treating oneself with kindness and understanding during times of failure or difficulty, promoting resilience and well-being. The looking glass self is the theory that self-concept develops through interactions with others, where individuals perceive how others see them and internalize those perceptions. Social identity is a person's sense of self based on their group memberships, such as nationality, religion, or social class, and can influence self-worth and intergroup dynamics. Identity diffusion occurs when individuals have not yet committed to a sense of identity or have unclear personal values or goals. Identity foreclosure is when individuals adopt the values or beliefs of others without exploring their own personal identity or desires. Identity moratorium refers to a period of active exploration of different roles and values, leading to a deeper sense of self-awareness and identity formation. Identity achievement occurs when individuals have explored different roles and values and have developed a clear and coherent sense of their identity. The false self is a defense mechanism where individuals hide their true selves to conform to external expectations, often leading to a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction. The concept of flow refers to a mental state of intense focus and immersion in an activity, where individuals lose track of time and experience a sense of fulfillment. Cognitive dissonance can influence the development of identity when individuals experience discomfort from holding conflicting beliefs or behaviors, leading them to modify their views or actions to reduce inconsistency. Psychology of development and lifespan. Human development refers to the physical, emotional, cognitive, and social changes that individuals undergo throughout their lives, from infancy to old age. The lifespan perspective emphasizes that human development is lifelong, multidimensional, multidirectional, and influenced by both nature genetics and nurture environmental factors. Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages of development outline key challenges faced at each stage of life, including trust versus mistrust in infancy and integrity versus despair in old age. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby, posits that early relationships with caregivers shape emotional bonds and future relationships throughout life. Secure attachment occurs when children feel safe and supported by their caregivers, and they are more likely to develop healthy relationships in adulthood. Insecure attachment can result in anxious, avoidant, or ambivalent behaviors in children, and may lead to difficulties in forming trusting relationships later in life. Jean Piaget's stages of cognitive development describe the progression of children's thinking abilities from sensoromotor intelligence to formal operational reasoning. Lev Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development emphasizes the importance of social interactions and cultural context in the development of higher cognitive functions, such as language and problem solving. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, which plays a key role in forming and maintaining social bonds. Affective forecasting is the process of predicting one's future emotional states in response to future events, but people often overestimate the intensity or duration of their emotional reactions. Hedonic adaptation refers to the tendency of individuals to return to a baseline level of happiness after experiencing positive or negative events, which means people quickly adjust to changes in their life circumstances. Positive psychology focuses on promoting positive emotions, strengths, and well-being rather than just treating mental illness. The broaden and build theory of positive emotions, proposed by Barbara Fredrickson, suggests that positive emotions broaden our thinking and build lasting personal resources, like resilience. Gratitude is a positive emotion linked to increased well-being and social bonding. Practicing gratitude can lead to improved mental health and satisfaction with life. Affective neuroscience is the study of the neural mechanisms underlying emotions, including the role of the amygdala in fear responses and the prefrontal cortex in regulating emotional reactions. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is effective in treating various emotional disorders, such as anxiety and depression, by addressing negative thought patterns that influence emotions. Mood disorders, such as depression and bipolar disorder, involve persistent disturbances in mood and emotional regulation, impacting daily functioning and overall well-being. Sadness is an emotion typically associated with loss or disappointment and is often linked to introspection and a desire for comfort or support. Fear is an emotion that prepares individuals to respond to threats through the fight or flight response, and it can be triggered by real or perceived dangers. Anger is an emotional response to perceived wrongs or injustices and can motivate action to correct the situation. But excessive anger can be harmful if not managed effectively. Surprise is an emotion experienced when an unexpected event occurs, often leading to curiosity and investigation of the cause. Disgust is an emotion that motivates avoidance of potentially harmful substances or situations, often related to physical or moral contamination. Love is a complex emotion that encompasses feelings of affection, attachment, and care for others, and it can manifest in different forms: romantic, platonic, familial. Laughter is often a social and emotional response to humor, but it also has physiological benefits, such as reducing stress and promoting social bonding. Psychology of memory and learning. Memory is the process of encoding, storing, and retrieving information, and it can be divided into different types, including short-term memory, long-term memory, and working memory. The levels of processing theory, proposed by Craik and Lockhart, argues that memory retention is influenced by the depth of processing, with deeper semantic processing leading to better retention than shallow structural processing. The spacing effect suggests that information is better remembered when learning is spread out over time, rather than crammed in a single session. Retrieval, the process of bringing stored information from long-term memory back into conscious awareness. It can be influenced by cues and context, with retrieval being easier when conditions match those present during encoding. The constructive nature of memory means that memories are not perfect reproductions of past events, but are reconstructed based on prior knowledge, context, and external influences. Eyewitness testimony can be unreliable due to memory distortions, such as the misinformation effect, where information presented after an event alters a person's memory of the event. False memories are memories of events that did not occur or are distorted versions of actual events, often created through suggestion or internal biases. The forgetting curve proposed by Hermann Ebbinghaus shows that memories decay rapidly at first and then level off over time, indicating that forgetting is most pronounced shortly after learning. Anterograde amnesia is a condition where an individual is unable to form new long-term memories after the onset of the condition, often due to brain injury. Retrograde amnesia is the inability to recall memories formed before a specific event, such as an injury or trauma. The hippocampus is a brain structure essential for memory formation, particularly in converting short-term memories into long-term memories. Cognitive load refers to the mental effort required to process and learn information, and excessive cognitive load can interfere with memory retention. Implicit memory refers to unconscious memory that influences behavior, such as procedural memory learning skills or priming exposure to one stimulus influencing response to another. Explicit memory involves conscious recollection of information, such as episodic personal experiences and semantic facts and knowledge memories. Psychology of social influence and behavior. Social influence refers to the ways in which individuals are affected by others' opinions, behaviors, or presence. It plays a central role in shaping attitudes, beliefs, and actions. Conformity is the tendency to change one's behavior or beliefs to align with those of others, often due to social pressure or the desire to fit in. Normative social influence occurs when individuals conform to be liked or accepted by others, such as dressing in a particular style to fit in with a group. Informational social influence happens when individuals conform because they believe others have accurate information or better knowledge, such as relying on experts. The Asch conformity experiments demonstrated that individuals often conform to a group's incorrect answer, even when they know it is wrong, due to the pressure of social conformity. Social norms are the unwritten rules or expectations about how individuals should behave in specific situations, influenced by culture, society, and context. Compliance involves changing one's behavior in response to a direct request, often influenced by factors such as reciprocity, authority, and liking. The foot-in-the-door technique is a compliance strategy where individuals are first asked to agree to a small request, which increases the likelihood of agreeing to a larger request later. The door-in-the-face technique is the opposite of the foot-in-the-door technique, where individuals are first asked for a large request they are likely to refuse, followed by a smaller, more reasonable request. Obedience is the tendency to comply with the demands or commands of an authority figure, even when it involves behavior that may conflict with personal values. The Milgram obedience experiments demonstrated that individuals are often willing to obey authority figures even when asked to perform actions that conflict with their moral beliefs. Groupthink occurs when the desire for harmony or conformity in a group leads to poor decision-making as dissenting opinions are suppressed or ignored. Social loafing refers to the tendency of individuals to exert less effort when working in a group than when working alone, often because responsibility is shared among group members. Social facilitation is the phenomenon where people perform better on simple tasks or tasks they are skilled at when in the presence of others. De-individuation is the loss of self-awareness and personal responsibility that can occur when individuals are part of a group, often leading to behavior that they wouldn't exhibit alone. Bystander effect is the phenomenon where individuals are less likely to help someone in need when other people are present, due to diffusion of responsibility. The Stanford Prison experiment showed how social roles and expectations can dramatically influence behavior, as participants assigned to the role of guards displayed abusive behavior towards those assigned to the role of prisoners. Cognitive dissonance theory, proposed by Leon Festinger, suggests that people experience discomfort when holding conflicting beliefs or behaviors, and they are motivated to reduce this discomfort by changing their beliefs or behaviors. The self-serving bias is the tendency to attribute positive outcomes to one's own abilities and negative outcomes to external factors, often to maintain a positive self-image. The fundamental attribution error is the tendency to attribute others' behavior to their internal characteristics, e.g., personality rather than external situational factors, especially when explaining negative behaviors. In-group bias is the tendency to favor and prioritize individuals who belong to one's own group over those from outside the group, often leading to prejudice or discrimination. Out-group homogeneity effect refers to the tendency to perceive members of an out-group as more similar to each other than members of one's in-group. Reinforcing stereotypes. Stereotypes are generalized beliefs or assumptions about a group of people, often leading to prejudices and discriminatory behavior. Prejudice refers to a preconceived, often negative, judgment about someone based on their membership in a particular group. Discrimination occurs when individuals act on their prejudices and treat others unfairly based on their group membership. Implicit bias refers to unconscious attitudes or stereotypes that influence one's perceptions and actions toward others, often in ways they are unaware of. The contact hypothesis suggests that increasing interaction between individuals from different groups can reduce prejudice and improve intergroup relations. Social identity theory proposes that people derive a sense of self and self-worth from their group memberships, and this can lead to in-group favoritism and out-group discrimination. The just world hypothesis is the belief that people get what they deserve, which can lead to victim blaming, especially in situations of inequality or injustice. The halo effect refers to the tendency to make overall judgments about people based on a single characteristic, such as assuming someone is good at their job because they are attractive. The Pygmalion effect, also known as the self-fulfilling prophecy, is the phenomenon where higher expectations lead to an increase in performance, while lower expectations lead to lower performance. Social comparison theory suggests that individuals evaluate themselves in relation to others, and this comparison can affect self-esteem and satisfaction. Upward social comparison occurs when individuals compare themselves to those they perceive as better off, often leading to feelings of inadequacy or motivation to improve. Downward social comparison involves comparing oneself to those perceived as worse off, which can increase self-esteem, but may foster a sense of superiority. Normative influence occurs when individuals conform to group expectations in order to gain social approval or avoid rejection. Informational influence happens when people conform because they believe the group has more knowledge or is more correct, influencing their attitudes or behavior. Resilience is the ability to recover from adversity, trauma, or stress, and it can be developed through coping strategies, social support, and positive thinking. Self-care practices, such as exercise, sleep, relaxation, and healthy eating, are crucial for maintaining mental health and well-being. Psychology of development and lifespan. Human development refers to the physical, cognitive, emotional, and social changes that occur throughout the lifespan, from infancy to old age. Cognitive development in children is influenced by both innate biological factors and environmental experiences. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that children progress through 4 stages: sensoromotor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. The sensoromotor stage 0 to 2 years is characterized by the development of object permanence, where infants understand that objects continue to exist even when not seen. The pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years, involves the development of symbolic thought, but is limited by egocentrism and an inability to understand conservation, the idea that quantity remains the same despite changes in shape or appearance. The concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years, is when children can perform logical operations, understand conservation, and engage in concrete problem solving, but struggle with abstract reasoning. The formal operational stage, 12 years and up, is marked by the ability to think abstractly, reason hypothetically, and engage in complex problem solving. Lev Vygotsky's sociocultural theory emphasizes the role of social interaction and cultural context in cognitive development, with the zone of proximal development being crucial for learning. Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory proposes 8 stages of development, each characterized by a central conflict that must be resolved for healthy psychological growth, such as trust versus mistrust in infancy and identity versus role confusion in adolescence. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby, suggests that early emotional bonds with caregivers play a crucial role in forming the foundation for future social relationships and emotional well-being. Mary Ainsworth's strange situation experiment identified 3 primary attachment styles in children: secure attachment, anxious ambivalent attachment, and avoidant attachment. The nature versus nurture debate is a long-standing discussion about the relative influence of genetics, nature, and environment nurture on human development. The post-conventional level found in a minority of adults involves moral reasoning based on abstract principles and personal ethics. The adolescent growth spurt involves rapid physical changes, including increased height and weight, and the development of secondary sexual characteristics. Adolescence is a period of intense cognitive, emotional, and social development, with a strong focus on identity formation, peer relationships, and independence. Emerging adulthood is a term coined by Jeffrey Arnott to describe the period between ages 18 and 25, which is characterized by exploration, instability, and the search for identity. Young adulthood, 20s to 40s, is often focused on forming intimate relationships, career development, and establishing a sense of purpose. Middle adulthood, 40s to 60s, is a time of reflection, where individuals often assess their achievements, face changes in physical abilities, and may experience a midlife crisis or a shift in priorities. Late adulthood, 60s and beyond, involves reflection on life, coping with physical decline, and managing issues related to retirement, social networks, and coping with loss. The socio-emotional selectivity theory, proposed by Laura Carstensen, suggests that as people age, they become more selective in their social relationships, focusing on emotionally meaningful connections. Cognitive aging refers to changes in memory, processing speed, and problem-solving abilities that often occur with aging. But many older adults maintain high cognitive functioning with proper mental stimulation. The lifespan perspective on development emphasizes that development is a lifelong process, influenced by multiple factors that interact over time, including genetics, environment, and personal experiences. The Big Five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism are believed to be stable over the lifespan, although some traits may change slightly with age. Aging and cognitive decline are not necessarily linked in all individuals, as lifestyle factors such as physical activity, mental engagement, and social connections can protect cognitive function. Longevity is influenced by a combination of genetics, lifestyle choices, and environmental factors. and maintaining a positive outlook and strong social connections has been linked to a longer life. End-of-life issues can bring about psychological challenges, including the need for meaning-making, dealing with loss, and facing the inevitability of death, which can affect individuals' mental health in later years. Psychology of motivation and goals. Motivation is a psychological process that drives goal-directed behavior, and it can be intrinsic, driven by internal rewards, or extrinsic, driven by external rewards. Maslow's hierarchy of needs proposes that individuals are motivated by a series of needs, starting with physiological needs, for example, food and shelter, followed by safety, love, belonging, esteem, and self-actualization at the top. Self-actualization is the realization of one's fullest potential, according to Maslow, and it involves personal growth, creativity, and achieving one's goals. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, such as doing something because it is enjoyable or personally fulfilling, whereas extrinsic motivation comes from external factors like rewards or recognition. The self-determination theory (SDT) proposes that motivation is influenced by the satisfaction of three basic psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Goal-setting theory Locke and Latham emphasizes that specific and challenging goals, along with feedback, lead to higher performance than vague or easy goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and they are a widely used framework for setting and achieving objectives. Self-regulation refers to the ability to control one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in pursuit of long-term goals, and is essential for success in many areas of life. Delay discounting is the tendency to devalue rewards and benefits that are delayed in time, which can make it harder to pursue long-term goals. Gratitude has been shown to increase motivation by fostering positive emotions, enhancing personal well-being, and increasing prosocial behavior. Self-efficacy, proposed by Albert Bandura, is the belief in one's ability to accomplish tasks and achieve goals, and it plays a crucial role in motivation and performance. The expectancy theory of motivation suggests that people are motivated to act in ways that they believe will lead to desired outcomes. Based on the perceived likelihood of success and the value placed on the rewards, intrinsic rewards tend to be more sustainable in maintaining motivation over time, while extrinsic rewards can be effective in the short term but may diminish motivation once the reward is removed. The overjustification effect suggests that offering external rewards for activities that people already enjoy can reduce intrinsic motivation for those activities. Achievement motivation is the desire to accomplish goals and perform well in tasks, and individuals high in achievement motivation tend to seek challenges and persist in the face of failure. Psychology of emotion and affect. Emotion refers to the complex psychological and physiological states that arise in response to stimuli, involving changes in mood, feelings, behavior, and physiological responses. The James Lange theory of emotion proposes that emotions are the result of physiological reactions to events, such as feeling sad because we cry or feeling fear because our heart races. The facial feedback hypothesis suggests that facial expressions not only reflect emotions, but can also influence the experience of those emotions, such as smiling making you feel happier. Basic emotions are universal emotional states that are present across cultures and include happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust. Theories of emotional regulation focus on how individuals manage and respond to their emotions, including strategies like suppression, reappraisal, and acceptance. Emotional intelligence (EI) refers to the ability to identify, understand, manage, and use emotions effectively in oneself and others. Daniel Goleman popularized the concept of emotional intelligence, which is believed to be just as important as IQ in predicting success and well-being. Emotionally intelligent individuals are better at navigating social interactions, managing stress, and maintaining emotional balance in challenging situations. Cognitive appraisal theory of emotion proposed by Richard Lazarus, suggests that emotions arise from how we interpret and appraise situations, rather than from the situation itself. Appraisal theory identifies types of appraisals. Primary appraisals, evaluating the significance of an event, and secondary appraisals, evaluating one's ability to cope with the event. The fight-or-flight response is an automatic physiological reaction to perceived threats, involving increased heart rate, rapid breathing, and the release of stress hormones. The Tan-Danby-Friend response is an alternative to the fight-or-flight response, involving nurturing behaviors and seeking social support in response to stress, which is more common in women. Positive emotions are those that are pleasant or desirable, such as joy, gratitude, and contentment, and they can have beneficial effect on mental health and well-being. Negative emotions include emotions like sadness, anger, and anxiety, and although unpleasant, they play an important role in alerting us to challenges and motivating problem solving. The broaden and build theory of positive emotions, proposed by Barbara Fredrickson, suggests that positive emotions broaden our thinking and help build resources that promote well-being. Emotion contagion is a phenomenon where individuals mimic and catch the emotions of others, such as feeling happy when others are smiling or feeling anxious in a tense group setting. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, and it is crucial for emotional bonding and for social behavior. Sympathy involves feeling concern or pity for someone else's suffering, but it does not require the emotional experience of the other person's feeling. Unlike empathy, the effective forecasting bias is the tendency for people to overestimate the intensity and duration of their future emotional reactions to events, whether positive or negative. The self-compassionate approach to emotion involves treating oneself with kindness during times of suffering, rather than engaging in self-criticism or harsh judgment. Psychology of relationships and social interaction. Social bonds and relationships play a central role in mental health and well-being, influencing everything from emotional support to physical health. Interpersonal relationships are characterized by mutual influence between individuals and can be familial, romantic, platonic, or professional. The attachment theory emphasizes the importance of early relationships with caregivers in shaping how individuals form future relationships, including romantic and social bonds. Romantic relationships are characterized by feelings of love, commitment, and intimacy, and they significantly impact emotional health, happiness, and overall life satisfaction. The theory of love proposed by Robert Sternberg identifies three components of love: intimacy, passion, and commitment, which combine in different ways to form different types of love. Secure attachment style in romantic relationships is associated with trust, communication, and healthy emotional intimacy, while insecure attachment styles, anxious, avoidant, may lead to relationship difficulties. Love languages, as described by Gary Chapman, refer to different ways individuals express and receive love, such as words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Social support refers to the emotional, informational, and practical assistance provided by family, friends, and others, which is crucial for coping with stress and enhancing mental well-being. Conflict resolution in relationships involves strategies to manage disagreements and restore harmony, and it is essential for maintaining healthy interpersonal dynamics. Effective communication is critical in building and maintaining relationships, involving active listening, clear expression, and empathy. Altruism is the selfless concern for the well-being of others, and it is often linked to prosocial behavior, such as helping, volunteering, or donating to charity. Empathic accuracy refers to the ability to accurately perceive the thoughts and emotions of others, which is important for building deep, meaningful connections. Friendship is one of the most important types of interpersonal relationships, providing emotional support, shared experiences, and opportunities for personal growth. The social exchange theory of relationships posits that people evaluate relationships based on the perceived rewards and costs, seeking to maximize benefits while minimizing losses. The investment model of relationships, developed by Carol Respelt, suggests that commitment to a relationship is influenced by satisfaction, investment, and perceived alternatives. Psychology of perception and sensory processing. Perception is the process by which the brain organizes and interprets sensory information to form a coherent understanding of the world. Top-down processing refers to perception that is influenced by prior knowledge, expectations, and experience, while bottom-up processing involves constructing perception from sensory input without preconceived ideas. The Gestalt principles of perception suggest that humans tend to perceive objects as whole forms, organizing sensory information into patterns such as proximity, similarity, continuity, and closure. Visual perception involves interpreting light and color information from the environment, and it is one of the most dominant senses, with specialized areas in the brain dedicated to processing visual stimuli. Depth perception is the ability to perceive the world in 3 dimensions and estimate the distance of objects, which relies on cues such as binocular disparity and monocular cues, for example, size, motion, and shading. Color perception is influenced by the wavelength of light entering the eye, and humans can distinguish between a wide range of colors, although some individuals may experience color blindness. Auditory perception involves interpreting sounds that enter the ear, with specialized structures like the cochlea and auditory cortex responsible for processing pitch, volume, and rhythm. The McGurk effect is a perceptual phenomenon where visual information such as lip movements can alter the perception of sounds, illustrating the interaction between different senses. Tactile perception involves interpreting touch sensations, such as pressure, vibration, texture, and temperature, through specialized receptors in the skin. Pain perception is a complex process that involves both sensory physical and emotional psychological components, and can be influenced by expectations, attention, and previous experiences. Proprioception is the sense of body position and movement, allowing individuals to know where their body parts are in space even without looking at them. The placebo effect is the phenomenon where individuals experience improvements in their condition simply due to believing they are receiving treatment, even if no active intervention is involved. Perceptual set refers to the tendency to perceive information in a particular way based on expectations, experiences, and cultural influences. Subliminal perception occurs when stimuli presented below the threshold of conscious awareness, yet may still influence thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Selective attention refers to the ability to focus on certain stimuli while ignoring others, and it is essential for navigating complex environments and tasks. The cocktail party effect is the ability to focus on a single conversation in a noisy room, filtering out other irrelevant sounds to prioritize what's most important. The Struop effect is a phenomenon where it is harder to name the color of a word when the word itself spells out a different color, for example, the word blue written in red. Multisensory perception occurs when multiple senses interact to create a richer, more integrated experience of the world, such as when sight and sound combine to create the experience of watching a movie. Inattentional blindness occurs when individuals fail to notice unexpected objects or events in their environment because their attention is focused on something else. Change blindness is a form of perceptual blindness where individuals fail to notice significant changes in a scene, such as when something in the background shifts during a conversation. Sensory adaptation refers to the process by which sensory receptors become less sensitive to constant stimuli over time, allowing individuals to focus on novel stimuli. Synesthesia is a condition where individuals experience a blending of the senses, such as seeing colors when hearing music or associating certain tastes with specific words. Cognitive biases influence perception by leading individuals to make systematic errors in thinking, such as confirmation bias, where people tend to seek information that confirms their existing beliefs. Existing beliefs. The framing effect describes how people's perceptions and decisions can be influenced by how information is presented, such as wording a question in a positive or negative way, Psychology of memory. Memory refers to the cognitive processes that encode, store, and retrieve information, and it is essential for learning and functioning in daily life. Short-term memory, or working memory, holds a small amount of information for a brief period of time, typically a few seconds to minutes, and is limited in capacity. Long-term memory is the relatively permanent storage of information and can hold vast amounts of data for extended periods, ranging from hours to a lifetime. The multi-store model of memory, Atkinson and Shiffrin, proposes that memory consists of three stores: sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory, with information moving from one store to the next through rehearsal. The working memory model, Baddeley and Hitch, suggests that working memory involves multiple components, such as the phonological loop, verbal information, the visual-spatial sketchpad, visual and spatial information, and the central executive, which coordinates these systems. Encoding is the process of converting sensory information into a form that can be stored in memory, and it can be influenced by factors such as attention, meaning, and repetition. The levels of processing theory suggests that deeper processing of information, for example, elaboration, leads to better long-term retention compared to shallow processing, for example, rote rehearsal. Chunking is a memory strategy that involves grouping information into meaningful units, which allows individuals to increase the amount of information they can hold in short-term memory. The serial position effect refers to the tendency to remember items at the beginning, primacy effect, and the end, recency effect, of a list more easily than items in the middle. The encoding specificity principle suggests that memory enhanced when the conditions at the time of retrieval match those at the time of encoding, such as remembering information better when in the same environment. The method of loci, a mnemonic technique that involves associating information with specific locations in a familiar environment to aid in recall. The spacing effect refers to the phenomenon where distributed learning space over time leads to better retention than cramming information all at once. Retrieval is the process of accessing stored information, and it can be influenced by cues, context, and the strength of the original memory. Recall refers to retrieving information from memory without any external prompts, while recognition involves identifying previously learned information when presented with it. The misinformation effect occurs when individuals incorporate incorrect or misleading information into their memories, leading to distorted recollections of events. Interference theory suggests that forgetting occurs when new information interferes with the ability to recall old information, retroactive interference, or when old information interferes with new learning, proactive interference. The hippocampus is a brain region critical for the formation of new long-term memories, particularly for spatial and declarative memory, facts and events. Amnesia refers to memory loss, which can be caused by brain injury, illness, or trauma. Retrograde amnesia, the loss of memories from before an event, while anterograde amnesia is the inability to form new memories after an event. Flashbulb memories are vivid and emotionally charged memories of significant events, such as 9/11 or the birth of a child, which may feel particularly detailed and accurate, although they can be distorted. The cognitive interview is a technique used in forensic psychology to help witnesses recall more accurate details by encouraging them to mentally recreate the context of the event. Memory reconsolidation, the process by which memories are reactivated and potentially altered during retrieval, leading to changes in how memories are stored. The forgetting curve Ebbinghaus illustrates how memories tend to fade rapidly over time, with the most significant forgetting occurring soon after learning. Long-term potentiation is a process that strengthens synapses and enhances communication between neurons, and it is believed to be a key mechanism underlying learning and memory. Psychology of learning and conditioning. Learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior or knowledge resulting from experience, and it is a fundamental aspect of human psychology. Classical conditioning, Pavlovian conditioning, the type of learning where a neutral stimulus becomes associated with a meaningful stimulus, eventually eliciting a response. Operant conditioning, developed by B.F. Skinner, involves learning through consequences, such as reinforcement or punishment, which either increase or decrease the likelihood of a behavior occurring again. Positive reinforcement involves adding a rewarding stimulus to encourage the repetition of a behavior, while negative reinforcement involves removing an aversive stimulus to achieve the same outcome. Punishment is used to decrease the likelihood of a behavior being repeated. Positive punishment involves adding an aversive stimulus, while negative punishment involves removing a desirable stimulus. The law of effect, proposed by Edward Thorndike, states that behaviors followed by satisfying consequences are more likely to be repeated, while those followed by unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated. Shaping is a method of reinforcing successive approximations of a desired behavior, guiding an individual toward the target behavior step by step. The concept of reinforcement schedules explains how different patterns of reinforcement, for example, fixed interval, variable ratio, can affect the rate and consistency of learned behaviors. Cognitive learning involves acquiring knowledge through observation, imitation, and mental processes rather than through direct experience or reinforcement. Latent learning, a concept introduced by Edward Tolman, refers to learning that occurs without reinforcement but becomes evident when there is motivation to demonstrate the learned behavior. Observational learning, or social learning, involves learning by observing the behavior of others and the consequences of those behaviors. Albert Bandura's Bobo doll experiment demonstrated how children learn aggression through observation. The mirror neuron system in the brain allows individuals to imitate and empathize with others by activating brain areas associated with action and emotion when observing others. Vicarious reinforcement and vicarious punishment involve learning based on observing the reinforcement or punishment of others' behaviors, rather than direct experience. Insight learning occurs when an individual suddenly grasps the solution to a problem without trial and error, often attributed to a sudden realization or aha moment. Modeling, the process of imitating others, and it plays a crucial role in the development of social behaviors, such as language acquisition and social norms. Cognitive maps are mental representations of the spatial layout of the environment, and they play a role in navigation and understanding the relationships between objects in space. Constructivist learning emphasizes that learners actively construct knowledge based on their experiences and prior knowledge, with education focusing on hands-on learning and problem solving. The principle of generalization in conditioning refers to the tendency for a conditioned response to be triggered by stimuli similar to the original conditioned stimulus. Discrimination in classical and operant conditioning involves the ability to distinguish between stimuli that signal reinforcement and those that do not, leading to specific behavioral responses. The overjustification effect occurs when external rewards decrease intrinsic motivation for a task, as individuals come to see their actions as being driven by rewards rather than internal interest. The preparedness theory suggests that certain animals, including humans, are biologically predisposed to learn certain types of associations more easily, such as associating taste with illness. The cognitive social theory of learning, proposed by Albert Bandura, highlights the importance of observational learning, self-regulation, and the interaction between cognitive and social factors in the learning process. Psychology of motivation and achievement goal setting theory suggests that setting specific and challenging goals leads to higher performance, particularly when those goals are measurable and accompanied by feedback. The expectancy theory of motivation proposes that people are motivated by the expected outcomes of their behavior, and they will engage in behaviors that they believe will lead to desired results. The achievement motivation theory focuses on the desire to accomplish goals and succeed in tasks, with individuals varying in their need for achievement, affiliation, and power. The self-fulfilling prophecy occurs when expectations about a person or situation lead to behaviors that confirm those expectations, influencing outcomes in a way that makes them come true. Self-efficacy, a concept introduced by Albert Bandura, is the belief in one's ability to successfully complete tasks and overcome challenges, which influences motivation and perseverance. Grit, as defined by Angela Duckworth, refers to perseverance and passion for long-term goals, and it is considered a key factor in achieving success in various domains. The marshmallow test is a well-known experiment on delayed gratification, where children who were able to resist eating a marshmallow for a short period of time tended to have better life outcomes. Vicarious motivation occurs when people are motivated by observing the success of others, inspiring them to achieve similar goals and overcome challenges. Flow is a state of complete immersion and focus in an activity where individuals experience optimal performance and intrinsic enjoyment, as described by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. The peak-end rule suggests that people tend to remember the most intense peak and final moments of an experience, which can influence their overall perception of that experience. The overconfidence effect occurs when individuals overestimate their abilities, knowledge, or likelihood of success, leading to inflated expectations and potentially poor decision-making. The illusion of control is the tendency for individuals to believe they have more control over situations than they actually do, which can influence their decisions and behaviors. Locus of control refers to whether individuals believe that the outcomes of their lives are primarily determined by internal factors, self-control, or external factors, luck, fate, etc. Psychology of decision-making and problem-solving. Decision-making is the cognitive process of selecting a course of action from among multiple alternatives, and it is influenced by both rational and emotional factors. Heuristics are mental shortcuts that help people make decisions quickly and efficiently, though they can sometimes lead to errors or biases. The availability heuristic is the tendency to base decisions on information that is readily available or recent in memory, rather than considering all relevant information. The representativeness heuristic is the tendency to judge the likelihood of an event based on how similar it is to a prototype or stereotype, rather than statistical probability. The anchoring effect occurs when people rely too heavily on the first piece of information they encounter, the anchor, when making decisions, even if it is irrelevant or misleading. Framing effects occur when the way information is presented, for example, as a gain or a loss, influences decision-making, despite the underlying information being the same. Loss aversion refers to the psychological phenomenon where people are more sensitive to potential losses than to equivalent gains, leading them to make decisions that minimize loss. Decision fatigue refers to the deterioration of decision-making quality after making many decisions, leading to poor choices or decision avoidance. The paradox of choice suggests that, while having some choice is beneficial, too many options can lead to stress, paralysis, and dissatisfaction with decisions. Problem solving involves identifying, analyzing, and finding solutions to challenges or obstacles, and it often requires creativity, critical thinking, and persistence. The trial-and-error method of problem solving involves testing various solutions until one succeeds, often used in situations with limited information. Insight problem solving occurs when a solution suddenly emerges in the mind, often following a period of unconscious processing. Algorithmic problem solving involves using step-by-step procedures or formulas to find a solution, ensuring accuracy but requiring more time and effort. Divergent thinking is the ability to generate a wide variety of possible solutions to a problem, encouraging creativity and flexibility. Convergent thinking is the ability to focus on finding a single, best solution to a problem, often leading to logical and practical outcomes.
For interesting and informational content, please watch other videos from our channel. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button.